You're clueless about God. That's quite a thing to say, right? To religious scholars. You don't have a clue. Because, and here's the issue, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. People ask sometimes, who is God? Point them to Jesus. Because if you've seen Jesus, you've seen the Father. He explains it. Now, I could have read on further. There was a lot more there. But here's the point. Jesus says, I'm the light of the world, and they say, no way. They're rejecting Jesus. And I ask the question, why do people reject the light of the world today? Why do they do that? I want to give you 5 reasons. Number 1 is some people fear punishment from God. Some people hide in darkness, and they're scared to come to the light, thinking that if they get caught, they're going to be punished. It's like they're thinking, you know what, God has to catch me in order to punish me. Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, God can drop a rock on your head. You're not walking in the light. He didn't have to draw you to the light to knock you over the head. But some people think, you know what, if I just hide, God won't catch me. They fear punishment from God. And here's the point. God may discipline you and me, right? He will discipline those He loves. But I want you to remember that Jesus died on the cross to forgive you and me of any deep wrong and any injustice that you and I may have ever done. Jesus suffered and paid the price for those wrongs I have committed. Yet, when we don't understand that we have a God of grace and forgiveness and mercy, then we may run from the light because we fear the punishment from God. There's a second reason. Some people find it hard to be honest about their sin. When God's light comes down upon the darkness of our own life and our own sin, it is easy to run and hide. You know why? Because honesty is a painful thing. Isn't it? Honesty is really a very painful thing. For some of us, it's hard for us to look at ourselves honestly because we sort of put this mentality up that says, I'm a pretty good person. I'm doing a pretty good job. My good deeds outweigh my bad deeds. And we just simply justify ourselves. We don't want to be honest about the fact that we're a sinful people and that He came for us to be our light. And so we just find it hard sometimes to be honest about sin. There's a third reason, and that is some people just love the darkness. There are some people that just don't care. Man, I like darkness. I hate God's authority. I hate allowing Him to have jurisdiction over my life. That's called self-deception, by the way. People deceive themselves all the time. Most of us actually are pretty good at deceiving ourselves. Jeremiah said the heart is deceitful above all things, right? Who can know? So sometimes we just run life because we just love darkness. And then there's a fourth thing, and that is some people fear rejection. If I go in there and God sees how bad I truly am, God will not love me. God will not forgive me. You would be surprised how many people tell me that. You would be surprised how many people tell me, I could never go to church because I've done too many bad things. And I've done too many wrong things. And I want to scream at them and say, that's why you need the church. Now, I don't do that, okay? All right? But that's why you need it. Because we have a God that forgives. We have a God that is willing to forgive you. And sometimes people take it to this extent and they say, well, you know, I don't mind if Jesus knows as long as other people don't know. You know why? Because I'm afraid of being rejected by other people. I'm afraid that my reputation is going to be sullied. I'm afraid that people will not accept me if I were to say that. And so people stay in hiding because they fear rejection either from God or from other people. And then there's the last reason, and that is some people fear losing others in their social networks and in their relationships. If you are in a social network of people that are in darkness and you step into the light, you are normally all by yourself if they determine that they're not going to go with you. Some of you, when you decided to put certain besetting sins behind you and step into God's light and live by the truth, you lost people that you thought were close to you. But they really weren't close to you. The only reason you had that friendship is because your sin was wed to their sin. And you liked being together in that sin. And when you left that, and you started wanting to walk in the light and live in the night, they said, nah, I don't need that. I don't need that. And some people fear losing others in their social networks and relationships, and so they'd rather stay in the darkness than come in the light. Are you hearing what I'm saying?
Yes.
You hear what I'm saying? You know, none of us is perfect in this life. But God desires that we live under His light. You've read this before in 1 John 7, but if we walk in the light, as He Himself is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus, His Son, cleanses us from all unrighteousness. Let me give you one more verse, 1 John 1:4. In Him was life. We're talking about Jesus here. And the life was the what?
The light.
The light of men.